So just before we left the UK, literally a miracle happened, and we got a lump sum of money that came from nowhere that allowed us to pay off all of our debts. So we were able to leave the UK being debt free, a period I still refer to as debt free 23. I've even got my Spotify playlist of the music I was listening to at that time. Um, so it just meant that I didn't have to, when we got here, I didn't have to jump into making, earning money straight away. And it just gave me that bit of freedom to, to process what I'd been through over the past years, the traumas and the stresses, but also it gave me time to explore the island and drive around the island and pick up on the vibration of the island, because of course different places on the planet, the vibrations that come out of the earth are very different. So this gave me the space to really regroup with my thoughts and then to tune in to the vibrations of my new environment. Cue waterfalls.
This particular waterfall was very instrumental in my reset. I remember the feeling of the jet of rushing water almost entering through the top of my head, and out of nowhere I just found myself saying, I am enough, I am enough. And I just kept repeating it over and over, I am enough. My emotions and how I felt about myself had just gone through what felt like they'd just been jet washed. And it was days after this that I started to feel some empathy for myself and for my past, the loss, the grief, the pressure, and I started to feel some appreciation for the work I'd been doing for the past year, supporting other people that I hadn't really acknowledged, supporting other people through times when I actually needed a lot of support myself.
I've used this time to build on my meditation practice and also to reconnect with myself, my higher self, and also the greater energies that surround me, the greater energies that surround me within the universe and beyond. Something else shifted. I realized that I was spending so much of my time thinking about money and thinking about how I would stretch out the little bit of money that I had left. And it wasn't until my bank account was almost at zero that something kind of major happened. And I realized that I was waking up every single morning and my first thoughts were about how I was going to make this money stretch. Now, neuroscience will tell you about those first moments of your day when your brain is in alpha wave state are so important, and your thoughts at that time will just be reflected back at to you. So thinking about scarcity, all that was doing was bringing more scarcity back into my vibrational field. And it was when I had no money to think about that something else happened. Something definitely shifted, and I feel like what happened for me was that energy was replaced, and what that energy was replaced by was the energy of creativity. And then I started getting a new idea. Once the creativity started flowing, I began to get a new idea or a new understanding of what the term abundance really means. I've never really felt the conditioning that as a man you have to be the provider. That's never really been a thing for me. And within my relationship, there's been times when I've been the provider, like when we first moved to Manchester, or when my partner was going through cancer treatment, or and there have been times when he was the provider, like when I first moved to New York, or yeah. So it's kind of it's just like an equality thing that's never really come into my thinking. However, what I've realized with when I ran out of money, I've realized that it was pride that I was holding. And it was the pride that I couldn't let other people know that I was financially struggling. And that was my that's my social conditioning as a man, because I know that, well, I'm thinking of someone else who finds it very difficult as a man to tell his friends when he's struggling financially. So that was a realization that I came to, something else that I was able to work through, and I found that I was able to open up to other people about running out of money. And what actually happens is that when once you open, once you it's that thing, once you close one door, another door opens. And I think once I'd let down that barrier of my pride, I was then opening myself up to, again, more abundance. And it was an abundance of people that are willing to support, people that love me, and I just kind of opened up to that. And now I feel free to follow the excitement. You know, they say that if you don't know what your life's purpose is, then you should follow the excitement. And now I'm following the excitement, and I've always wanted that work that didn't feel like work, the stuff that makes you want to jump out of bed. And with this jump out of bed and get to it, and with this YouTube channel, I'm loving that I can bring person centered therapy with a mix of vibrational and frequency work, and some work outside in the field. I can add so many more elements to person centered therapy, and I feel like I can do it with this channel. And just knowing that even if one person sees it and they're in a bit of a rut and feels that they have someone to reach out to, that really, really fills my heart and makes me feel so thankful that I'm on this path that I have to say I don't know I would be on if I hadn't left the previous system that I was living in. And just to reiterate again, because I think a lot of people think abundance is all about money, abundance could be anything. And once you stop thinking that abundance can only mean money, you start opening yourself up to other forms, other ways that abundance can actually work for you. And of course, you can have an abundance of creativity, which can solve issues for you. You can have an abundance of love and support. So just to say, don't try and pinpoint a definition for abundance, because abundance comes in many, many shapes and forms. At the start of the pandemic, or just actually, it was, yes, sorry. So when the pandemic started, for some reason, well, I say for some reason, it's not surprising, I just got the instinct, the urge to start making green juices. And it was an immune system booster, green juice. And I had it all through the pandemic, and I just never stopped making it. And I do believe it's a huge part of how I've been able to keep myself healthy and cold and flu free and all the rest of it. So I'm still making this green juice. However, here, um, I've been, I'm lucky enough to have been able to make the local ingredient addition to my green juice, which is the super herb moringa. Moringa grows everywhere here, it's wild. And so I'm able to pick it, dry it out in the sun, and then blitz it to a powder and put a teaspoon or two of that into my green juice. I also have so much more time. I feel like I have time is very different here anyway. The concept of time has loosened for me. I think once you don't have that structure of a Monday to Friday and living for the weekends, once there's no sort of landmarks to your week, your concept of time completely changes. My concept of time has completely changed now. And although I feel like time is speeding up and going faster, I also feel like I have more of it. So I've had a lot more time to think about health drinks, and we're still talking about work, so this is kind of linked in, because what I feel, what the universe is telling me to do, is to create a line of health drinks. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to tackle, there's a few health conditions, diabetes, uh, immune system, as I said. There's like a metal balancer, because all the metals that we have in our body. There's a balancing out of the spike protein drink. So I've got like some drinks that I'm working on, and I'm gonna I'm gonna open up a drinks. What am I calling it? A drinks bar. I'm gonna call it a drinks bar, because I've also been working on some non-alcoholic cocktails as well. So this is something else that I'm working on, and I'm actually in the process of creating a business plan, and I can't almost can't believe that this is 2 years ago. I would have thought the idea of creating a business plan would have just blown my mind. It's never something I thought I would be able to do, but actually, do you know what? I can do anything. So I'm working on my business plan. I've got all my sections figured out, and I think the key part of this business will be that I'm working on it being a new earth business. So it's not about ownership and capitalization. It's going to be a joint ownership, profit sharing, being good to nature, good to people, good to animals kind of setup. I mean, I hope it's going to be like a new earth business model. So a business model that would take us through to a new earth sensibility and the way that the planet is changing and the way that I want to be living my life as well. Oh, and on that note, if you saw this, how would you pronounce it? Now, I reckon I would, if I saw that, I would say nah, as in nah, no, nah. So I'm just like trialing this because it actually stands for no harm, all heart. What do you reckon? I can hand on heart say now that I'm in the best phase of work life that I've ever been in. I feel so free. I feel so open. I feel like I'm capable of doing so much. I feel like there's so much possibility out there just waiting for me to tap into when I'm in the right vibrational space. I feel open to it. I feel like I can connect. And all I needed to do, I say all I need to do, is a big thing, but I needed to get out of that system of control that was just keeping me surviving and not thriving. Those are my two main projects at the moment, supporting people with healing that needs to happen, healing, personal growth, and transformation with my YouTube platform, and then internal body health with the health drinks, starting up a business of health drinks that's going to be like a new earth business supporting the planet, people, and animals. And there are two other projects that I'd like to get on board with. I read an article, a report a while ago. Actually, since I moved here, I read a report from a landfill site in Pakistan, and it was all about how they discovered that mycelium was breaking down the plastic on the landfill, and that triggered something in me. I mean, I've always been interested in mushrooms, but that triggered something else in me, and I feel that there's some work for me to do, bringing a product to market that's about breaking down plastic or somehow. So I don't know, I'm not quite sure what it is, but the seeds are there. Yeah. And the other thing is with the dogs. So I've 100% been brought to this island to address the issue with the dogs here. There are, it's a huge, a huge thing to be dealing with. It's a huge situation to be dealing with. But I figured that I could focus on one thing, and there's this one thing in particular. It's a skin condition, and it's highly treatable, but left untreated, it leaves these dogs suffering every single moment of their day as they gnaw away at the skin, trying to get through to this itching. And it's such a painful sight to see. And knowing that it's something treatable is just absolutely heartbreaking. So I've got something in mind, some kind of service where I go around the island because it could be something as simple as having worms, and it's like a perfecto pill that could be given to them, but the local communities don't know about this kind of thing because they have a different idea of how dogs should be treated here. So further down the line, I'm going to be developing something to do with mushrooms, mycelium, and a service to give some relief from the suffering of some of the dogs on this island. I forgot to say in my piece about my juice business that I mentioned fruit, but I'm also going to be working with herbs. Now, it kind of goes back quite a long way to many years ago when I was supporting someone in the community who was a spiritualist woman, and she gifted me a portrait of a Native American, which I hung on my wall for at the end of the staircase for like 2 days. And the impression was so strong, it kind of started to terrify me. So I took it down and gave it to a charity shop. That was the first time that this energy came to me. The second time was when I woke up feeling like someone had struck a match on the back of my neck, and I felt the sting and the pain of that. And then the third time was more recently when I saw this same Native American sitting on the banks of a river. And at that time, he said to me that he's going to share some of his knowledge of traditional medicinal herbs. So next up in this trilogy, that means there's three of them, is relationships. We've had home, work, and then relationships. So thank you so much for listening, watching. If any of this has resonated with you, if you're picking up anything that I'm putting down, please leave a comment and we can start having a bit of a discussion about it. And there might be some way that I can help you. So thank you so much. And in the words of dry cleaning, we can rebuild.